the hood. Sisterhood in 60. My name is Christy Little Jones, and this is my co host, Nicole Clough. We are thrilled that you are here. On today's show, we are going to talk about love and sisterhood and why we believe that celebrating love, collaborating together, and cultivating healthy relationships with yourself, other women, and beyond is critical to creating a wonderful life.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. This is Nicole, and I am so excited that you're here each week, Thursday at 8. You're joining us for Sisterhood in 60. Now, that's like a tongue twister, right? Sisterhood in 60. It is a weekly live broadcast that's 60 minutes or less, and it's a space for women to come together, rejuvenate, renew, and just get restored. We're here to encourage and support one another because that's what love and sisterhood is all about. So why love and sisterhood, right? Because love and sisterhood is a place in a community of women who get to come together, bring their gifts, their talents, their anointing, their abilities, and we get to come alongside one another and push each other towards purpose. That's the beauty of sisterhood. That's the beauty of relationships. We're excited you're here.
So good, sis. So before we get started, please click the subscribe button below and be sure to turn on your notifications so you always know when we're going live and become part of our community because we love to have you here.
Absolutely. So we're excited about Love and Sisterhood. I know this is very new for you all. I know you're joining us. Some of you are new. Some of you came last week. And when we talked about the little smackdown we had, I'm so glad to see over this past week that some things have moved in certain directions. And we're just believing for restoration, right? We don't want any relationships broken. They are so important. They are so vital. They are so vital to our forward movement and development. And relationships for us are that important. So why love and sisterhood? Let me just tell you a little bit about why Christy and I decided to go with love and sisterhood. We've known each other for what, Chris? Almost 20 years, right?
Yes.
Almost 20 years.
Yes.
And in that time, we've had the opportunity, now listen, any relationship has their opportunity for there to be jealousy, envy, strife, backbiting, talking behind each other's back, all kinds of stuff, right? Well, let me tell you, we ain't doing none of that. Oh, that's not how we get down. That is not how we roll. And so our desire is to be able to share that knowledge, those experiences with you, because guess what? Women want to know about relationships with other women. How do I know that? Just recently, Christy was asked to sort of facilitate sort of a webinar for women. And the reason why she was asked to do is because the overseer of this group asked and polled the audience, right? So ladies, what do you want to talk about? Because that's the big question. What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about parenting and how to handle your children, whether they're young or whether they're teenage, or whether they're adults? Do you want to talk about marriage, relationship with your husband or your significant other? Or do you want to learn about relationships with women? Guess what they chose? Hands down, relationships with women. Why are they so hard? Why are they so difficult? They're not, if we don't allow them to be. And that's why we are bringing you love and sisterhood. It's our lives, y'all. This is how we're living. This is how we get down.
Love it. Sis, I love sisterhood because it's like having a built-in cheerleader as well as a therapist and a trench mate. Having those women who are in the trenches with you when you are going through life and the ups, they're there to celebrate with you, but they're also there when you can barely get out of bed. Yes. And so how would you like to have someone that you trust in your corner that you can share all of your thoughts, all of your ideas and experiences without feeling like judged, without feeling criticized, without feeling that really negative energy that sometimes you may be in a friendship with and there's just this weird thing going on, but you know that they have your back, that they love you and they have your best interest at heart. How would that feel to have somebody in your life that can that you've given permission to really call you out or really help you identify your blind spots. And they are committed to the relationship so much that they tell you about your blind spots lovingly
And
and gently, right?
sometimes not so lovingly. I mean, and you know what?
Right,
And that's
right.
okay.
It is.
That is okay. I have those types of, trench mate sisters. I
Yes.
have, I have those type of sisters that, hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you in a loving way, sis, because sometimes we can just love and we can, hey girl, it's gonna be okay,
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
all right. And sometimes that's a good thing. Then
Yeah.
other times, hey, sis, you need to fix that.
Yeah. For
You
sure.
need to fix that.
And I love that too. I think that one of the things that I appreciate so much about our relationship is that there is a mutual trust. And I think that's the key word is
Yes.
mutual.
Yes.
And that you feel like you are giving and getting, receiving and being really cared for. Like you're not always the one who's reaching out and
Right.
you're not always the one initiating, but you receive that in return. So there's a mutual exchange in the relationship. There's a mutual care, a mutual love. It's not you trying to people please or just, you are the one who's kind of like the doormat in the relationship, or you're the
Right.
one who's feels like you're being manipulated in the relationship, but that it
Hmm.
really is a commonality that you have, not only in shared love, the things that you love together, there's your shared experiences, but
Hmm.
I just love having women in my life that I know and truly believe that they love me, draws down, right? That's the term we're
Here's
gonna
an image, right? Draws down.
draws down.
Yes.
They're not gonna judge me. They're not gonna be like,
Yes.
"Ooh, look at you got cellulite," like, right? But they're gonna really be like, really help pick you up. And I've had really just a women that I can count on one hand in my life for 20 years or more that I know no matter what, if I was pulled over and I was going to jail and I could make one phone call, or it was 2 a.m. in the morning and I needed somebody to get me. I have women who I can call. Do you? Do you have women in your life that you can call at
Yeah.
when you're in jail and you need $10,000 bail money? Or women who really are going to
Mm.
walk with you during a time of grief in your life,
Yeah.
or who are going to be genuinely happy for you when you've just gotten this promotion and this $50,000 bonus. And so you don't feel a twinge of jealousy. Do you have women in your life like that? And so tell us in the chat, what do you love? What you love about sisterhood?
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell us in the chat, and we're not going to read them on camera here live today, but we definitely want you guys to engage with each other. So what do you love about love and sisterhood? And what is it that you desire most
Mhm.
about sisterhood? What is it that you're missing regarding community? Because that is what Sisterhood in 60 and Love and Sisterhood is all about, is creating a community of women of all shades that have a common love
Mhm.
for people, a common love for women, and a desire to be with other women without competition,
Yeah.
without comparison, without the need to feel like you're people pleasing or feeling judged or criticized. And so that's what we're doing. We're creating a safe place for women to feel like they can do that.
Absolutely. I mean, that to me is critical in every sense of the word. And for me, I have those type of people in my life, and I'm
Mhm.
so thankful for that. I didn't grow up with biological sisters. And so for me, it was difficult. And I think I shared this before, so no need to really repeat it. It was difficult for me to engage with women. And there were those times when, there was, those times of abrasive engagements, where some people are sort of prickly and or where people are just sort of aloof and just don't have any time for you, or they're too good for you, or whatever the case may be. They're jealous or envious, or there's just so many things that can go on between women. mainly because a lot of them, hate to say it, just don't know who they are, and they feel like they're volleying for position. And so that's what we're going to talk about in these spaces, because there are some serious relationships, that get challenged,
Right.
and some relationships are broken and lost because of miscommunication,
Yeah.
because of something not dealt with. We press down, and we know we bite our tongue, and don't say certain things because we don't want to offend, or we don't want to hurt someone's feelings. And sometimes it's not about offending or hurting someone's feelings. It's about owning who you are as a person and being able to communicate that unapologetically. And some people don't know how to do that. And it's done in love. Now, I did hear this just recently. We like to sometimes say, girl, I'm gonna
Girl.
tell this to you in love. When people coming to you with it, I'm gonna say this in love. It
I
ain't that
know.
we ain't that type of love and sisterhood. We
No.
ain't that backhanded. I'm gonna really pop you in the eye a little bit, love and sisterhood. We don't roll like that. But
No.
if we're gonna say something in love, what we're saying in love is there to push and to thrust you forward into who God has created you to be. So no, ain't no shade up here in love and sisterhood. Not a
Right.
bit.
I love that, sis. I think that you really hit on something because we are all, well, first of all, we all start the same, right? We were all born out of love. We were created out of love, out of God's love, right?
Mhm.
So everyone's like on the same playing field when it comes to that. And so when he created us out of love, when we are born into a family, we then have experiences, real life experiences that teach us the definition of what love is. But
Right.
it often corrupts the true definition of what God intended
Come
love
on.
to mean
Come
when
on.
you are born. So if you are experiencing neglect, or you experience rejection, or you experience abuse, or you experience it could be a myriad of things, right? But whatever it is that you experience when you are young, especially if it's something that's consistent,
Yeah.
abandonment, right?
Mhm.
Or nurturing, or love, or
Rejection.
support, right? Whatever it is,
Mhm.
that now becomes your definition of what
Mm.
love is.
Yeah.
So there's corruption through experiences in your life of what the true meaning of what love is.
Yes.
So now these experiences are like lenses over your eyes, right? Where now you have this perception or perspective through your lenses of the experience of what love is,
Yeah.
when 9 times out of 10, it's not the truth, because love is kind. So if you're experiencing any love that's not kind, that is a warped definition, right? That's a corrupted view of what love is. Love is patient. So
Yes.
when you're a child, and this is probably one of my biggest pet peeves, sis, is when I see mothers
Mm.
at the grocery store. There was one in particular when my kids were really young, and there was a mother standing at the bus stop, and her son he was walking, but he was really little. So maybe 2, maybe. And I was at the stoplight. It was a beautiful sunny day. The windows were open, and I heard her MFing cussing this little 2-year-old out because he wanted to be picked up because he was tired. Right? Brings tears to my eyes every time. Or in the grocery store and you hear them, "You MF, you better." I mean, it makes my every hair on the back of my neck stand up. And unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, it's just repeated behavior. It's what they learned,
Right.
right? So what you learn, you teach, typically,
Mhm.
correct? So if you know that love is someone cussing you out, or that's what your perception of what love is, guess what? That's what you're going to attract. That's what you're going to want. That's what you're going to do. That's what you want, right? Because that's what you feel love actually is, because that's your experience.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's the hardest part, I think, in just community, is being able to take that sister, in those types of situations, you want to take the child,
Yeah,
and deal with your sister. But it's those types of hard places that we really need to be better at dealing
for
with one
sure.
another. I mean, sometimes people don't want you to get all up in their business. Stay out of my
Mhm.
business. But when your business is all out in the street, how can we stay out of
Yeah,
it? Keep that mess at home if you don't want nobody in your business.
you're good.
And
Yeah.
so for me, community for me is that feeling of fellowship with others,
Mhm.
as a result of sharing common interests and attitudes and goals. And unfortunately, the pandemic for so long kept us apart and kept that sense of community away from one another. And so we all became this sort of island unto ourselves, self sustaining, self sufficient, because we had to be that way. And so now I think it's going to take a little bit of time of being able to open up again, letting people into your space,
Mhm.
giving them the opportunity to connect. You got to how we were wearing masks all the time. So we could be a little bit secretive about what was behind it, right? Even though the eyes don't lie, right?
Right.
So now we got to pull the mask down,
Yeah.
have that authentic smile
Yeah.
and be able to engage and have conversations with one another. Not just, hustling and grinding and doing our thing and just kind of, putting the blinders on to everyone around us.
Yeah.
But there's power in community. There's power in oneness. There's power in sisterhood. And so I'm just excited about this sisterhood in 60 seconds, sis, that we have this opportunity to share with women. And so
Yeah.
for you, what is the most powerful thing about community to you?
I feel like there's so much, like you were saying, so much power in community. And if we as women could really just look in the mirror, do the self work on ourselves,
Mhm.
and really recognize, identify those blind spots
Yeah.
and work on them, work through them to become the best version of ourselves,
Yeah.
and partner, link arms with other women, do you know what this world would be like?
Oh my gosh.
Really, do you know what relationships would be like? Do you know what marriages would be like? Do you know what families would be like? They would, I mean, people wouldn't even recognize them because we
Mhm.
have such power. God has really given us so much power in our families. We are the glue
Yeah.
in our families.
Yeah.
And we give life literally through us, or even if it's through adoption, but we are giving life to
Yeah.
another human being by modeling love, by
Mhm.
modeling just the kindness, modeling patience, modeling just the things that really honor God, like the heart
Yeah.
posture of love and sisterhood. So if we can model that with one another, we
Mhm.
can change the world. And so I believe that community is something that everyone craves. No one wants to be alone. I believe that community is something,
Mhm.
especially after these last few years,
Yeah.
where it's like you said, taking the mask off. It's now that the mandates have been lifted and it seems like things are opening up a bit, there are people who are still living in fear, walking in fear because they've been in this state for so long. I
Yeah.
had an event today, and literally everyone not everyone, but there were a lot of people. There were 50 people in the room, and probably 47 weren't wearing masks, right? And now we were somewhat distant, but then we had to take pictures together. And there was one in particular who I could see the fear on her. I could see
Mhm.
how fearful she was. And because she had like three masks on, because she had to take each mask off when we took the picture. But then we took a picture as a group and she stood over to the side. And the person taking the picture was like, well, I'll cut it and put you closer through, I don't know, Photoshop or something like that. But,
Mhm.
it understand that so many of us have had experiences where we have allowed fear to really make decisions for us. But if we could really get to a space, or if Love and Sisterhood in 60 can create a safe place to
Yeah.
talk about those fears, to talk about not from a judgment or a criticism standpoint, but really creating a safe place to talk about the root of some of those fears
Right.
and how fear is really zapping and thwarting your purpose. It is totally zapping all the joy, all the happiness if you allow it. But so many people don't really even know that they are
Mhm.
living in fear, right? So
Yeah.
what do you think about just the power that we can not only create but really teach and educate on when it comes to the community feel, or what it is that we, when we talk to from sister to sister to other sisters, sisters we don't know, sisters we do know, and really that communication piece.
Yeah. So, so I think for me, like when it comes to that, when where community is concerned, right, and really being able to let the guards down, drop the fear, drop the reservation and what keeps you from engaging. If when we're able to do that, I think that is what Love and Sisterhood is coming to do, is to help us do that, right? Because just in that example you talked about with the lady who was taking the pictures,
Yeah.
and so when you think about it, a mask gives us that ability to hide all of those insecurities and those things that keep
Mhm.
us
Mhm.
from really engaging. And it was a real pandemic. So as far as a real pandemic is concerned, we absolutely needed to take those
Absolutely.
precautions. But figuratively speaking, we do that every day as women.
Mhm.
We hide
Mhm.
behind these masks in our lives that keep us from truly engaging and being one, being able to come alongside everyone else in the picture. And, I see this as a dual thing.
Mhm.
One is the scheme and the tactic of the enemy,
For sure.
because the Bible always talks about two are better than one, first of all. So two people in my mind is community, right?
Yes, yes.
Um, but then if everybody is getting to agree, if everyone comes to a place where we're thinking the same things, doing the same thing, and engaging in the same way, we're advancing together. And I
Mhm.
think it's those masks, it's those things we hide behind that gives us that ability to stay off to ourselves and to not fully lend our gifts and not fully give our talents, for whatever reason it may be. But most of the time, fear is the enemy. And I love it, as Joyce Meyer has said this for years. Fear is just false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
And, when we get to that place, when we realize those things that we're afraid of or those things that we feel are holding us back really aren't true,
Yeah, yeah.
they really don't exist. Oh my gosh, the sky is the limit, right? There is no place that we cannot go when we resist fear. And so, ladies, in relationships, I know there have been women who've done you wrong. I
Yeah.
know there have been women who stabbed you in the back, but guess what? Every woman is not that woman. And so we have to also engage that ability to discern. Like, I know for me, the amazing women, I mean, I'm telling you, I feel like I am balling when it comes to sisterhood. I
Right.
am like
Totally.
balling, like
Multi-millionaire, right?
I'm like Kanye, y'all. I'm like 6.6B. That's how I feel with my sisterhood, with
Yeah.
the community of women that I have.
Mhm.
And so because of that, I feel like, when you have that type of community and those women in your lives who are just complete gems, you have the ability to let your guard down and trust. Because guess what? She's not trying to do what you do. Christy's not trying to do what I do. I'm not trying to do what she does. I'm not trying to do what Tony does or Maria does or Kina does or, any of the women who are in my life.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do what they do and they're not trying to do what I do. But when we come together and we unite, my gosh,
Yeah.
monumental things happen. And so that's what we want to do here
Sure.
in Love and Sisterhood, is create those explosive relationships where you can trust women again. Because every woman is not that woman who did you wrong. And everybody does not have ill will towards you. And so we have to stop lumping them together. Like I lump my children together. I say the girls a lot of time, and I'm getting to that mindset is I think that can be so hindering
Yeah.
when it comes to their own identity.
So good.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we can't lump everybody in with that woman because then that ties me in with her identity. And guess what? I don't even know her. And so we have to get to that place that we can't tie everybody into the same lump. This is not gumbo, y'all. We're going to do those individual aspects of the gumbo. Okay, I might be the sausage. This person's the potato. That's the corn. She the shrimp. You know what I mean? And so we have to
Good.
take on that individual identity, learn to trust again so we can enjoy what is beautiful and what is magical and what is just powerful about connection and community.
Wow. I love that. I love that gumbo. I love that. And
I
you
don't
know,
even
in
need
all
gumbo.
right, right. In all fairness, I feel like the sisterhood that we are wanting to not only model, but create a safe place for other women to build this amazing sisterhood, it one does take time,
Yeah.
right? So in all fairness, there's consistency and there's
Yes.
time behind developing these relationships. You're not
Absolutely.
necessarily going to meet someone next week that you feel like you can tell your whole life story to because there hasn't been any what is it, proof that is that the right word, or like the experience of when you do share something from a very vulnerable and transparent place and you see the reaction or the response of this person that you trust it with,
Mhm.
and then time after time, layer after layer, it builds experience after experience, it builds that trust, right? And
It
so
does.
go ahead.
I was just going to say it does, Chris. It does. And I think part of it and where I was going is you have to know when it's a God connection because there's a difference.
Yes, and we are going to have a whole live about that, a whole live show
Yeah.
about how do you know? How do you know when there's a person in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime? That's going to be good. So this is why you have to subscribe and click the notifications below so you don't miss that. And really, sisterhood in 60 and a love and relationship. Our goals as the hosts and the co-founders of Love and Sisterhood and the hosts of Sisterhood in 60, we want to create this community for women where being real, honest, and authentic is celebrated, right?
Yes.
So we want to change the inner conversation that women
Mhm.
have with themselves that
Yes.
make them want to shrink or maybe shut down
Mhm.
or even shut up to avoid conflict in relationships or to avoid the discomfort that so many of us feel in life, whether it's with a coworker or with our boss or with our neighbor. And, because we're so uncomfortable with conflict or confrontation, we avoid it altogether, stuff it, and then it comes out in various ways. It can come out in illness, sickness,
Mhm.
disease. It can come out in bitterness, anger, frustration, and then built up over time, it's a literally a ticking time bomb waiting to happen. And
Yeah.
so we are going to, throughout each of these live shows, we're going to encourage you. We're going to cheer for you. We're going to celebrate with you and celebrate for you.
Yes.
Just having the conversations that align with truth. And they're courageous conversations, right?
Yes.
Courageous conversations that align with truth. But we're going to take y'all through all the different steps and take you to the beginning. We're going to help you know how to identify some root concerns and issues because there are women that we see who look very unhappy. There are
Yes.
women who we see who there's a level of compassion for because they've got a scowl on their face and they look angry and they're just unapproachable. And you're just like, wow, they probably just need a hug. But I'm so scared to go up to them to hug them because they may cuss me out. Right. And so we're going to talk about all of that in Love and Sisterhood. And so Nicole's going to talk a little bit about what you have to look forward to next time. Unless you have something else to say, Nicole.
No, you summed it up so well, sis. That was absolutely great. I don't mind sharing about next week because I'm so excited about it. I just came home from a trip over the on the West Coast, and I was sitting next to a lady who, just wanted to talk, and I actually just wanted to just sit in my seat and say nothing. But you know how love and sisterhood is, right? We
Mhm.
got to be sisters anywhere we go.
Yes, absolutely.
So she was telling me about her business and everything, and then she said, "Oh my gosh!" I had to pull my mask down, and she said, "Oh my gosh, your skin is amazing. It's so beautiful." I was like, "Oh, thank you." I said, "Let me tell you a little bit about clean beauty and beauty counter." And so next week, y'all, we keeping it real, real. Now,
Yes.
I'm not a huge makeup person, but I don't mind wearing some lashes. And I don't do a whole lot of foundation and things like that. But if I don't have anything on, trust me, you will know. So we're coming the real deal Holyfield next week. We are coming, no makeup, no nothing. We're just going to be stripped down, and
Draws
we're going to
down.
take you draws down, honey. And we're going to take you through our beauty regimen with clean beauty. Do you know about clean beauty? Every Tuesday, well, not every Tuesday, maybe a couple Tuesdays out of the month, I start talking about toxic free. So, whether it's toxic free skincare or having toxic free relationships, no one wants any toxicity in their lives, right? It is not good for us. And so, skincare is one of those big things. Like years ago, I used to put, I don't think I can name products. Can I?
No, not
Hmm.
yet.
So there are some products I used to put on my face that were not good for me. And
Mhm.
there are a lot of chemicals in our products, in our beauty products, and our lotions, perfumes, all of those things that women want to make them continue to look fabulous.
Yes.
There are toxins in these products that are doing our bodies an injustice, not just our skin, but a lot of them get down into our endocrine levels. And when you're using these things over the years, you would just be amazed at when you switch to clean beauty, what a difference it makes.
Yeah.
So, Beauty Counter they have a never list where there are 1,800 different toxins that they never put in their products. Now, think about that for a minute. I don't want to get into next week right now, but just think about that. I'm going to leave you right there. 1,800 toxins they never use in their products. So if you're not buying Beauty Counter, guess what that means? Okay. So until next week, when we strip it down and keep it real and keep it natural and keep it beautiful, because makeup isn't everything, it's just an accessory. The beauty is really in you. So we will see you next week here on Sisterhood in 60 at 8 p.m. when we talk about toxic free beauty.
I love that, sis. So good. And I think that it's going to be, and so we want you to come, but before you go, we're going to make sure that you can you actually join Love and Sisterhood. So not
Yes.
only will you be reminded through here, but we want you to become a part of our community. We want you to join Love and Sisterhood, and not only will you receive emails and just about a bunch of different information, but we're sharing not only tips about relationships, we're talking about mirror motivation. We have some squad bloggers who are off the chain. We have different programs that we are going to be sharing. And so being a part of this community, you will receive that. So join us at bit.ly/, join Love and Sisterhood so that you can become a part of our community. And again, next week, we cannot wait to talk a little bit more about toxic free beauty, clean beauty. Have you ever heard of that? Clean beauty. So be sure to join us next week to find out more. Thank you guys so much for joining. We love you.
Love
Thank
you
you.
much.
Yes, have a wonderful evening, and we will talk to you soon.